What's up, y'all? Snipes and Snarflats, your unauthorized place for Disney, Pixar, Marvel, and Lucasfilm. I'm your host, Jason, and today we just got back from the 100 Acre Wood on a trip with Christopher Robin, so I figured I'd bring my friend Eeyore. Say hi, Eeyore.
Hello.
And he probably won't have much to say throughout this because having been in the movie, he's kind of got a biased opinion.
It probably wouldn't matter anyway.
Anyway, Um, I too will probably have a biased opinion because even as an adult, I love Winnie the Pooh. I watch Winnie the Pooh. I enjoy Winnie the Pooh. I laugh throughout Winnie the Pooh. It's one of my favorite cartoons just because of I call them Poohisms. They're just the deep wisdom and the childlike simple things that Pooh says that if you really dissect him, he's a genius in some of the strange things he says. And I really that was all over this movie. All over this movie. And I think that's what I liked the most about this movie was the use of all the Poohisms in this movie. Uh, the nothing leads to the best somethings that they said in the trailer. I knew from the time I heard it that this was going to be one of my favorite movies this year. And it might be one of my favorite movies for a long time because I really enjoyed it. Ewan McGregor, he was great. In fact, Haley Atwell, the child who played their daughter, they were all great for people who were only acting up against a actual stuffed animal, which probably is one of the most difficult things you could pull off besides acting to a tennis ball, as they do in most of the Star Wars movies. But this movie was Pooh. Pooh really stole the show. Winnie the Pooh just took this thing away. And it was crazy how much more you wanted to see Pooh. Like, I mean, in fact, my only drawback from this movie is the fact that the storyline, it highly resembles the storyline of Hook. If you remember the storyline of Hook, and I don't mean like the full storyline, but just like the basis to it. That's my only drawback because and it's not really even a drawback. It's just a drawback because we've seen it before. And I know that's probably going to get acknowledged when other people talk about this movie. I feel like it's more their drawback than mine, so I'm noticing it because for me, it's the perfect story to tell still, even through Hook. It's work work can never be important than who you're working for. You can't forget that. You're working for your family in the first place, so why put work ahead of them? And that's kind of the underlying pretense of this movie. They've even showed it through the trailers. It's been no real secret. But besides that, I was surprised how much Pooh dominated this, like more so than that story. Sometimes you can get lost in telling that kind of story and forget the fact that the core material here is little stuffed animals that come to life. And wow, they pulled that off great. There's some street comedy in there where other people start to notice. Like it's just this movie was fun. It's an emotional roller coaster. There was times where I can say at least 98% of the theater that I was in was bawling, like you could hear sobbing and just. But I mean, it required it. It was worthy of it. It's a touching movie just because of Pooh. Like I said, Pooh is so innocent, and that innocence flows throughout this movie, and it gives it this even though it's an emotional roller coaster, it stays with this purely innocent comedy that just everyone was laughing throughout the theater. Just at some of this, just anything because you're just aching for more and more because it is so adorable, and that's the word to really use is adorable. They pulled off Pooh just perfectly. It felt like I was watching the cartoon come to life that I grew up with when I was a kid. And I'd never read the books other than what they show in the cartoons, but judging just by the Disney cartoons, this was Disney's Pooh come to life. And I loved it. I will watch this many, many more times. And I'm not saying I loved this watching it through my kids' eyes or I loved this watching it with kids. I loved this watching it as an adult. I mean, even though, adult is stretching it for me as I'm someone sitting in front of you holding an Eeyore plush. but I, as an adult, this just resonates with me, probably even more so than it ever did as a child. And the innocence of Pooh is just so much forbearing. All the characters were great too. If you have a favorite character of the plushes, they were portrayed here because Eeyore, he was portrayed excellently in this movie. Like some of the things Eeyore said, and I love the fact that Eeyore was kind of like their third wall breaker or fourth wall breaker. He'd be the one who'd acknowledge what was going on that was outside the ordinary, and he really kept this thing grounded, as well as, like I've mentioned, the street comedy and the people noticing and stuff like that. It kept this thing so based in reality that you actually thought these little fantastical plush characters existed, or at least you wanted them to. I know what my next meet and greet will be. If they could make these things actually do what they do, I would love to go meet them, because this was amazing. I was very, very shocked at how well they pulled off the actual Pooh aspects of this. Because, like I keep saying, it was like watching the cartoon. I really enjoyed this movie. I would recommend it to anybody who just wants to see a family feel good movie. If you're having a hard time, I've had a rough couple of 2 weeks. If you noticed the special announcement, we've been in limbo right now, trying to totally relocate everything. And you know what? This totally, I didn't think for 1 second throughout this movie of what I've been thinking about for the past 2 weeks and should have still had on my mind. This movie is a pure escape. It's a pure, innocent, joyous escape that will make you feel things that you don't feel all the time, and it'll make you be a kid again. And everyone kind of needs this movie, I think, like I said earlier, because we're in a time right now where it's rough for some folks, and maybe everyone needs to sit back and just kind of let it go and remember what it was like when nothing really mattered, when doing nothing could lead to the best somethings, as they say. And like I said, enjoyed it. Go see this in the theater. Let's help this thing make what it should make, because it's one of the best movies I've seen this year when it comes to an actual just family feel good movie. Take your kids to see this. Take your grandparents to see this. Take everyone to go see this movie. It was fun. That's the best way to say it too. Is it was a fun time, and I would go see this again. I will buy this movie. It will be in my collection, and I'm sure I will watch it many, many more times, as there are so many quotable things from this movie that just, oh man, they can be used every single day for every single occasion. But that's my first thoughts coming in. I'll probably write the longer one here in the next couple days, where I'll really get into it a little more and have time to resonate and think about it. I'm still keeping the website going as much as I can. Anything that's big, I throw it down there. So check the links below and you'll see how to follow the website on Facebook and Twitter. I'm still putting up pictures from Instagram. I've gathered some whole new pictures from the park. So check us out on Instagram. Like I said, all the links will be down there below. And, well, can't wait to see you next time. And until then, TTFN.
And that means ta-ta for now.
Yes, it does.